A person sets up a brand new account, fresh email, a name that is not their name, a fresh device they bought specifically for this, a connection that has nothing to do with their home. They are careful. They never log into the old account from the new one. They tell no one. Weeks later, a small note arrives inside a moderation tool somewhere. Two accounts, 94% likely to be the same person. Nobody followed them. Nobody read their messages. The machine simply noticed. This is the quiet truth underneath every platform you use. They are very good at deciding that two accounts you believe are strangers are actually one human wearing two coats. And the strangest part is that no single clue does it. It is the way dozens of weak clues stack into something heavy. By the end of this video, you will see exactly how that stacking works, which signals defenders lean on, and why staying genuinely separate is far harder than almost anyone expects. What linking actually means. Let us be precise about the job here. A platform is not usually trying to learn your legal name. It is trying to answer a narrower question. Are these two accounts the same person, yes or no? That is identity linking, and it is the engine behind catching one operator running 50 scam accounts, behind reuniting a shutout user with the account they lost, behind stopping someone who was banned from simply walking back in under a new name. The key idea is confidence, not proof. The system almost never says these are the same person, full stop. It says here is a score, and above a certain line we treat them as linked. Everything that follows is just a long list of things that nudge that score up. The device fingerprint. Start with the device, because it is the loudest signal of all. Your browser and your phone leak a startling amount about themselves. The exact model, the screen size, the fonts installed, the precise way the graphics chip draws a hidden image, the tiny quirks in how audio gets processed. None of those is unique on its own. Millions of people have the same screen size, but bundle 30 of these together, and the combination starts to look like a fingerprint, specific enough to pick the same machine out of a crowd. So when two accounts touch the platform from a device that fingerprints the same way, that is a heavy nudge. The operator changed their name and their email, but they sat down at the same laptop, and clearing cookies does almost nothing here, because the fingerprint was never stored in a cookie. It is computed fresh from the machine every time, which means the same machine keeps answering the same way, no matter how clean you think you are. There is a second layer to this that people miss. Even when someone deliberately changes their fingerprint, the way they change it can become a signal of its own. A tool that spoofs the screen size but forgets the matching graphics behavior leaves a mismatch, and a device claiming to be a brand new phone while behaving like a 3-year-old laptop is its own kind of flag. Defenders learned long ago that a too perfect, too clean device is sometimes more suspicious than a messy real one, because real machines carry years of small inconsistencies, and a faked one almost never does. Network and IP history. Next comes the network. Every connection arrives from an address, and platforms keep a long memory of which accounts have appeared from which addresses and when. One shared address is weak on its own. Coffee shops and offices and whole apartment buildings share addresses constantly, and the systems know that. What is not weak is a pattern over time. If two accounts keep showing up from the same home connection late at night, then the same mobile network during the commute, then the same office address by day, that overlapping trail is hard to wave away. Defenders also watch how an address behaves. A residential address that suddenly sprouts 40 accounts looks nothing like a real home, and proxies that get resold leave their own footprints, because the same address turns up serving wildly different people in wildly different places, active hours and rhythm. Now it gets more personal. People are creatures of habit, and that habit shows up in time. When do you wake? When do you go quiet? Which hours do you post, scroll, message, plot two accounts on a clock? And a real human's day has a shape, a fingerprint made of time, rather than hardware. If the supposedly anonymous account goes dark at exactly the hours the real account sleeps, and lights up the moment the real one does, that lines up too neatly to ignore. One person cannot be awake in two patterns at once. The machine does not need to know who you are to notice that two accounts share a single body's daily rhythm, how you type and move. Deeper still is the way you physically use a device, the rhythm of your typing, the little pauses between certain keys, how fast you scroll, the path your mouse takes across a page, the angle you tend to hold your phone, the pressure of your taps. These behavioral signals are subtle, and most people have no idea they are being measured. On their own they are noisy, but a person's motor habits are remarkably consistent, and they are hard to fake on purpose for long. Someone who deliberately types differently slips back into their natural rhythm within minutes, because you cannot consciously hold a fake cadence across thousands of keystrokes. So two accounts that move and type with the same signature give defenders yet another quiet line connecting them. The people around you. Here is the signal people forget entirely, and it might be the strongest of all. You are not an island. The anonymous account does not exist in a vacuum. It talks to people, follows people, gets invited by people, and the set of humans around an account is itself a fingerprint. If the new account follows the same niche cluster of friends, family, and oddly specific acquaintances that the old one did, that overlap is enormous evidence. Who invites whom? Who messages whom first? Who appears in the same small group? All of it draws a social graph. You can change your name, but you tend to keep your people, and the people around you quietly point straight back at you. From none, furlused recovery details. Then there are the boring practical anchors, and they catch more operators than anything clever. The recovery email, the phone number. People reuse these constantly, because remembering a separate phone and a separate recovery address for every identity is genuinely hard. A phone number is an especially strong link, because numbers are limited, tied to real identity in many places, and expensive to keep buying fresh. When the same recovery phone or the same backup email sits behind two accounts, defenders treat that as close to a direct line. Even a number that was attached briefly months ago and then removed often still lives in the history. The cleanup came too late. Payment leaves a trail. Money is even harder to disguise. The same card, the same billing address, the same digital wallet, even the same bank behind a card that looks brand new, all leave a thread. Payment networks were built to be traceable on purpose, because that is how fraud gets caught. So the very system you pay through is working against the idea of being two separate people, and the links are sneakier than a matching card number, a refund that loops back to an old account, a payment method that fails in the same unusual way, a billing address one digit off from another. Operators who get everything else right are often undone here, because spending money is the one thing that is genuinely hard to do anonymously at any scale. The words you choose, even your writing gives you away. The phrases you reach for, your favorite typos, whether you use two spaces after a period, the emoji you lean on, how you tend to open and close a message. This is stylometry, the study of writing as a fingerprint, and it is old enough to have unmasked authors long before the internet existed. No single quirk proves anything. Plenty of people overuse a certain word, but the full bundle of someone's habits across enough text narrows the field fast. An operator can watch their grammar for a sentence or two, but holding a completely different writing personality across thousands of messages is exhausting, and the real voice leaks through the moment they stop concentrating. Login and switching patterns. Then there is the simple shape of how you come and go. When accounts get logged into back-to-back from the same device, in the same order, every single day, that sequence is its own tell. The operator who checks the real account, then immediately switches to the alt, has created a daily ritual the system can see in full. Switching too perfectly is its own giveaway. A person juggling several identities tends to fumble, logging into the wrong one for a second, posting to the wrong account and deleting it, leaving one logged in while using another. Each fumble is a bright thread between accounts that were supposed to never touch. Either signals combine. Now the important part, because no single one of these is the answer. Defenders take all of them, the device, the network, the timing, the rhythm, the social graph, the recovery details, the payment, the writing, the login habits, and feed them into a model that weighs each one. A weak signal adds a little. A strong, rare match, like a shared recovery phone, adds a lot. The magic is in the stacking. Any one clue you could explain away? Shared coffee shop, common phone model, popular turn of phrase, but the chance that two truly separate strangers match on the device, and the network trail, and the active hours, and the social circle, and the recovery email, all at once, is vanishingly small. So the score climbs, and somewhere past the threshold, the platform stops treating them as two people. You did not get caught by one mistake. You got caught by the arithmetic of many small ones. It helps to picture it as a courtroom of weak witnesses. No single witness saw your face. One only noticed the car. One only heard the time. One only recognized a turn of phrase. Alone. Each could be wrong. and a careful defender knows it. But when 40 quiet witnesses all point at the same door, the doubt collapses. That is what a linking model really is. A way of adding up small, individually deniable observations until the sum stops being deniable at all. And because the model is tuned on millions of real cases, it has a good sense of which combinations almost never happen by chance, which is exactly the combinations a careful operator tends to produce. Why staying separate is so hard. This is why true separation is brutally difficult, and why people consistently underestimate it. Staying separate does not mean getting one thing right. It means getting every layer right, at the same time, forever, with no slip. A fresh device and a clean network, but a reused phone number syncs you. Perfect details, but the same daily rhythm and the same friends give you away. Humans are not built for that kind of sustained, total discipline. We reuse passwords, we check the wrong tab, we keep our friends, we type the way we type, we sleep when we sleep. Every habit that makes you a consistent person is exactly the habit that links your accounts. The wall between two identities is not built once. It has to be held up by hand every day, and a single tired evening can bring the whole thing down. The same machinery protects you, so it is worth stepping back, because this can sound purely sinister, and it is not. The exact same linking quietly works in your favor more often than against you. When one person runs 40 accounts to push a scam, or a banned harasser keeps creeping back under new names, it is this stacking of weak signals that ties the puppets to one hand and shuts them down together. It is also what saves you on the day the door slams shut on you. You lost the password, lost the phone, lost the recovery email, and yet the platform can still recognize you by your device, your patterns, your history, and hand your account back. The machine that can tell two of your accounts apart from strangers is the same machine that can tell you are really you. It is not built to expose people. It is built to answer one stubborn question again and again. Is this the same human or not? So the next time you imagine an anonymous account is a clean break from the real you. Picture that quiet note in the moderation tool. 94% the same person. Nobody followed you. The trail was made of things you would never think to hide, and the wall between your two selves was always thinner than it looked. If pulling the modern internet apart like this is your kind of thing, the quiet machinery under the things we all do without thinking, then you are in the right place. There is no product here, no upsell, nothing to sell you. Just the systems explained from the inside by someone who has spent a long time in the room where they run. Subscribe and follow the rabbit hole. So overwhelmed mankins. Next time we go after the little box that has guarded the internet for 20 years. The capture arms race, how bots learn to see, and how that tiny test asking you to prove you are human quietly stopped being about boxes and squares at all, and became something else entirely, watching you long before you ever clicked.